What's good, YouTube? And welcome to the house. As we head towards that off-season, the market is freaking nosediving on meta cards, and it's awesome. You're actually able to, before the WCQ, get cheaper prices because the sellers aren't holding on. They're wanting to make those sales now. But interestingly enough, it's even cards like Fantastical Dragon Phantasme here at $84. Now, that's still a lot for a playset, but it sure freaking beats paying $250 for a playset on a card versus $300. And we know there's really no plans to just shove this in the Megatins or shove this in Battles of Legends, so it's interesting to see it go down versus, say, Pot of Extravagance only falling $2 when this is played in a lot less decks like Guru Control and Altergeist. How many top decks in this last YCS actually played Extravagance? Cricket noises. So it's interesting to see this go down so much when the off-season's going to ramp up like never before. We barely get one, actually, this year, thanks to how Konami's planned things. We have the World Championship in Berlin, August 10th to 11th, and then they announced Portland, Oregon for August 24th to 25th. We have an August YCS. Then in September, we have 3 back-to-back-to-back YCSs. We've got Niagara Falls. We've got Guadalajara, Mexico. We've got Fort Worth, Texas. I'll see you guys there. So, I'll probably be playing Pendulums or something. I'm gonna go budget for it. But seriously, it's going in like never before. It's very interesting how they're approaching the off-season this year, and we're not getting much breathing room. We're gonna have a ban list, sure. It's unlikely to affect Phantasme. They're gonna want to make their reprint money, and they're not giving it to send the Megatons. They're likely holding it for whatever March set has 100 cards in it, like they've been doing. So this tanking already is very interesting to me. If you're going to the WCQ, you haven't picked these up for some reason, and you're wanting to play them, save yourself $50 on a freaking playset. Also to note, Thunder Dragon Colossus Secret Rare was $26 the day of Jesse Cotton's win. There's a $24 one, and you know, it's pretty just interesting to watch this stay so low after a win. Well, the Megatins are coming. They are. But we've also seen Konami messing with the ratios. What's your actual play value if you want to pick this up for your WCQ deck of getting to keep these versus their depreciated value of the 10s? I could see this being one of the future chase cards of the 10 where it goes up to 20 over time if they don't reprint it and slam it too hard on a ban list. But again, ban list fears are realistic. This deck has been doing very well for a while. We'll have to see how they approach it on a future list. Speaking of Danger Thunder, the Dangers are all tanking, starting with Bigfoot down towards 12 from 16. Jackalope from its 22 to 25 price point, 17 and then 19. We see Danger's Sneck, $40, pretty nice for Lowe's listing. People are just trying to get rid of stuff. Nessie, you know, it was sitting at 52 not too long ago. We see it under 40. Everything is going down, down, down in price, where you can still get it mailed in before the WCQ. This competitive market where you have these independent sellers really trying to get in there. It's awesome to be a player right now heading towards the WCQ and get these savings. Even though these are expensive cards, the decks are expensive compared to a lot of different years, it's still nice to see. Now, one deck that's not going down that has me scratching my head, Sky Striker Engage holding at 40 still. You have the reprints coming from Battles of Legend, and even though last year's Battle of Legends made things a little harder to get, there's not a card, really, that goes too far above 20. We've had multiple. We've had Bamboo Shadow. Cyber Emergency has fallen back down to earth recently. We've had them spike up to that point. But I don't think Engage will be one of those cards that really holds a high price point from Battles of Legend to where this still deserves to be 40 when everything else is falling. Let me know what you think about this in the comment section down below. You know, the lowest chunk of Top Cut, at least it's still making Top Cut, of the last YCS. Yet it is still just in such demand that it's staying up there. I would also actually make a passive suggestion to get stuff like Sky Striker Ace Token here, because in the future, people are going to want to play this mirror match. As much as you think people want to play a mirror match, look at like Ultimate Zodiac Whiptail and how it's gotten bought out like 3 times. And people love the Zoo Mirror now. Like they play it off to the side like it's GOAT format. It's just speaking to a generation of duelists that come in and really enjoyed a certain deck, there's going to be people in the future that enjoy the Sky Striker Mirror Match, slowly hollow out their entire deck. There's only 18 prices for these now. They'll disappear off the market in good time, so don't get caught sleeping if you think you might even possibly want to play a Sky Striker Mirror in the future. It's hard to see now, but you never know where Yu-Gi-Oh's gonna go, right? So it's just an interesting point. And now marching upwards in the WCQ season and off-season, despite having a special edition coming, Dengirsu, 45. I was wondering if he could reach 50, and now I believe. This card is so freaking good. It's so necessary. Most people are playing too, and I just think it's carrying Dark Neostorm right now. Despite every single secret being really freaking good, they're not really impacting the meta too much. Signet Mining overprinted. We do see it bouncing back up as Solomon great players are opting to play it, and we see Cherubini still sitting up here. Highly anticipated Reigns import finally here. Yet only $20. It's crazy. Avramax back down under $15 despite high play because overprinting. Weird. These ratios really taking effect. And Omni Dragon Brotar, most people only play it as a one-of, as a combo piece alongside the Guard Dragons. Ib, accessible from the extra deck. It's actually only going to get cheaper. Who would have thought? This will probably be a $5 card after the special editions. It's just crazy how this entire set has panned out, how value Crackdown has gotten towards $3, similar to how Red Reboot was. Mystic Mine under $2. Oh, wait. By the way, who said that we wouldn't see more than 3 Mystic Mine decks topping the YCS? How many concentrated Mystic Mine decks were there topping the YCS? Yes, it's going to infect the regional level and local level. The YCS level, however, seems a little bit missing for concentrated Mystic Mine decks, doesn't it? So, moving on from the I told you so gloating for half a second, Scrap Recycler is actually going up for the common on TCG Player, lowest being $9.40 and then $10. A pretty good combo starter if you're playing certain kinds of Orcus decks. Of course, you can just foolish any machine monster and then have a body on board to be able to go into the Nightmare. It's a decent card. I don't know that I would be opting to play it after testing, but a lot of people do. It only has its one printing out of SDMM, and lowest near mint on eBay, similarly $8 before you still have trouble finding more near mint versions of them. So something to keep your eyes out for in bulk commons. I've actually picked out, I think, 10 of these since I've started picking my bulk again, getting that downstairs ready. I have a lot of bulk commons. I already have a buyer. Stop messaging offers. But in terms of the bulk that I've picked, but I'll have to figure out what I'm gonna do with my good commons since I currently don't buy and sell. Maybe I'll just have to list a bunch of commons. We'll keep our eyes peeled and tuned for that, huh? John Moore controlling the market on Scrap Recycler. Ghost Reaper and Winter Cherries is an odd one for me. I really want to suggest this card to be bought. Like, it's a first edition at $5, and historically formats diverge on themselves where there's a really good deck that abuses the extra deck. Yet, in the modern era, we have Guru Control, Altergeist, True Draco. There's a lot of rogue decks that this ends up not affecting, so how realistic will we see this getting played in a main deck once again? I don't know when and where, but I do think this is still a good long-term investment for the first edition Secret Rares of Shining Victories. I think there's easily a point where this will be more than a double up, 12, 15, 20 for the first edition Secret Rares for meta players. So I would say this is a decent buy to go and look for and be on the lookout for. But again, it does have to be, you know, like a metagame that supports this. It's format dependent, as the kids like to say. So, something to keep your eye on and think about if you've been waiting to get first editions. This is about as cheap as it gets for this card before it finds its way into the game again. Oh, I was talking about Battles of Legend earlier. It's just interesting how far down Cyber Emergency has fallen once again from that hype, multiple buyouts, like Cyber Dragon support is coming, Nashter is here, and into, alright, the true fans had it, huh? The vendors are now having to hawk these back off. Interesting how that worked, isn't it? Fogblade is relatively up. I like to look at Battles of Legend when we're about to get a new one and see how, over the course of a full year, how things went. Well, it turns out the best-selling cards were cards original to the set. Cyber Emergency, Gossip Shadow over the year. Even with Stromberg shorter printed, like, it didn't hold a very good price point versus the initial release, and then other cards managed to go up over time that became meta impactful, or hollowing up certain cards. So it's really interesting to go back and look at this Battles of Legend and think about the one coming forward and what prices will fall out. That's why I sincerely don't think, I think Engage will, after a bit, be a $10 card for a while. And that's why it's very interesting to me that it's holding 40 versus everything else. Maybe it's just quantities of Dark Saviors having sold out after so long. Oh, also FYE has a promotion going on. I put this in our group chat, and DZ was there an hour later getting the candy bar. They got a new t-shirt, and they actually have other interesting t-shirts as well, like Karibo male and female shirts. So we're gonna, my wife and I might get those matching. But it's pretty interesting to see collaboration with FYE. I don't think any of these will go up in price over time necessarily, just something fun to get. And finally, a look at the Speed Duel Attack from the Deep. I think Konami is going to push Speed Duels way past what I initially thought. There was a live stream with, I want to say, over 7,000 viewers at one point watching a Speed Duel Invitational from overseas. I think Konami is going to look at the attention Speed Duels is getting along with Duel Links and maybe really push this format past what I first thought. So while I don't really know how the market's going to go for these locked set like cards, like you can play them outside, but like the whole point is you can only play Speed Duel cards in Speed Duels is how I should be putting it. It's interesting on how that market will develop in the future should it get like a YCS level of it, and the scramble for that once it's announced would be very interesting as well. Thank you so much for watching. Let me know what you thought of today's Market Watch and the topics at hand. What do you think of the meta crashing on down so early before the WCQ, where you can actually mail cards in still and get them in time? What do you think about how the offseason is going to ramp up? And perhaps, not a ban list channel, but the future ban list that will be impending. How is it going to shape up? Will it wait till after Worlds and then hit some World stuff, kind of like the dinosaurs? Let me know what you think in the comment section down below. Thank you so much for watching. Subscribe if you haven't already. Give this video a thumbs up if you did enjoy the conversation. And like Simo, we'll see you next time.